time, we'll call to order a regular meeting of Common Council. This is April 3rd, 2024. Carrie, roll please.
Alderperson Carpenter.
Here.
Gantz.
Here.
Hanson.
Here.
Honiger.
Here.
Ledvina.
Here.
P-Rock.
Here.
Quigley.
Here.
Rash.
I am here.
And Mayor Boyd.
I'm here as well. Item 2, pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm leaving and I can't.
Item 3, approval of the minutes of the March 19th, 2024 Common Council meeting.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Alderperson Carpenter, seconded by Alderperson Ledvina. Discussion or comments? Seeing there is none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 4, public comment upon matters not on the agenda. Comments made during the public comment period shall pertain only to matters under the jurisdiction of the Common Council. Does anyone in person or virtually have any public comments upon matters not on the agenda? If so, just raise your hand or come up. No, no, and no. Anyone virtually have any public comments upon matters not on the agenda? If so, just state your name. For the third and final time, any public comment upon matters not on the agenda? All right, let's move on. Item 5. Recommendation from Plan Commission to approve an extraterritorial 2-lot certified survey map at 5038 State Highway 57, Greenleaf Road in Rockland, Parcel R-284.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Alderperson Rash, seconded by Alderperson P-Rock. Discussion or comments? Seeing there are none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 6, recommendation from the Board of Park Commissioners to accept a donation of time and materials from DPR High School and DPR Area Chamber for park projects.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by Alderperson Hanson, seconded by Alderperson Gantz. Discussion or comments? Alderperson Hanson.
Yeah, I think the signage for the urban orchards is a great idea. Just wondering if our communications manager is going to be involved with the design of the signs and if they're going to incorporate the somewhat new city logo.
Larry.
Actually, we have a team, an urban orchard team, and they'll be the ones that'll be involved with it.
Is the question, do you want to have the DPR logo on the sign and you just want to pass that on?
We do work, we're
for
already
consideration.
working. That's already been.
Already in the works.
Okay.
They've come up with designs in the past, because they were going to do it in the past. I don't think it'll change much, but they have incorporated the city logo as part of it.
Okay, good.
Very good. Other questions you have? Anyone else have a question and or comment? Seeing there are none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 7, recommendation from the Board of Park Commissioners to approve request from East River Trail collaborative effort to plant native vegetation.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by Alderperson Rash, seconded by Alderperson Quigley. Questions or comments? Alderperson Hanson.
Just wondering what our policy is on prescribed burn. It did say that the contractors are probably going to prefer that method, but if we don't allow it, then they would have to mow.
Is Marty, do you hear the question or not?
Not alone. I'm not sure.
Sorry, I was
Shannon, hit him. Get him up here.
I was in deep thought from the previous topics.
Oh.
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question, Alderperson Hanson?
Yeah, in the memo, it talks about not your memo, but the from the East River Trail Collaborative that the preferred method that the contractors are probably going to want to do is prescribed burn, but it depends on what the city's policy is on allowing that. So is that something we will allow?
That won't be happening.
Won't be happening.
And when we've already talked with the rep from the East River project, and so they understand that, and they'll be going to Plan B.
Which is going to be mowing then?
Correct.
Okay.
All good?
Yep.
Other questions or comments? All right, seeing there are no more, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. Item 8, recommendation from the License Committee on an application for change of agent for Aldi, 1100 Main Avenue.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Alderperson Carpenter, seconded by Alderperson P-Rock. Discussion or comments? Seeing there are none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. Item 9, recommendation from the License Committee on an application for change of agent for the Mulva Cultural Center, 221 South Broadway.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by Alderperson Carpenter, seconded by Alderperson Gantz. Discussion or comments? There are none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 10, consideration and possible action on Willems Park Playground.
Do you want to take these? in-
We are going to take them separate, so let's go item B first, item A first. First one will be item A, approval of funding including remaining ARPA and hard surface program 2023 carryover funds. We'll need a motion and second for that.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Second.
Motion by Alderperson Rash, seconded by Alderperson Ledvina. Discussion or comments on item 10, letter A. Alderperson Hanson.
Yeah, I appreciate staff getting creative with finding the unused ARPA funds to be able to cover this and allow for port in place. I'm just wondering though, going forward, I know we want to kind of make port in place the default. I know Lawton Park didn't have it, but most of them are having it now. Are we planning to budget more in future years to be able to accommodate the port in place?
Based on the recent direction of this playground, it would be our intent that each of the playgrounds that would be coming forward would be planned for port in place
And be budgeted accordingly?
and be budgeted accordingly.
Yeah, okay. And then the hard surface program, just wondering why those funds weren't all used last year?
That particular dollar amount, if you will, every year we work with our engineer department in conjunction with their projects. So every year they create a zone or a section of the city and address all the hard surface in that section. Sometimes we have a lot, sometimes we don't have as much. So it would be a scenario where we just simply did not have as much in that zone last year.
Okay,
Does that make
good.
sense?
Yep.
Great. Other questions or comments? Again, this is on letter A. All right, seeing there are none, we need a roll call vote, please.
Alderperson Carpenter.
Aye.
Gantz.
Aye.
Hanson.
Aye.
Cuniger.
Aye.
Ledvina.
Aye.
P-Rock.
Aye.
Quigley.
Aye.
Rash.
Aye.
Motion carries, thank you. Item 10, letter B, Resolution 2432, authorizing agreement for consulting services between the City of De Pere and Lee Recreation LLC, modular playground equipment design specifications and installation services for Willems Park.
Make a motion to approve the recommendation.
I'll second.
Motion by Alderperson Rash, seconded by Alderperson Gantz. Discussion or comments on item 10, letter B? All right, seeing there are none, roll call vote, please.
Alderperson Gantz.
Aye.
Hanson.
Aye.
Cuniger.
Aye.
Ledvina.
Aye.
P-Rock.
Aye.
Quigley.
Aye.
Rash.
Aye.
Carpenter.
Aye.
Motion carries, thank you. Item 11, consideration and possible action regarding Nelson Family Pavilion grand opening and related expenses.
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second.
Motion by Alderperson Hanson, seconded by Alderperson Rash. Discussion or comments? Alderperson Hanson.
Yeah, it looks like staff's looking for some direction about the layout.
Well, ultimately, it would be what the council would want to approve via the budget. So ideally, we think it would be beneficial to have 2 tents. That's really the ultimate change in the layout. But there's a cost to that.
And then also the acoustic patio singer, you have a no for a requirement,
Correct,
so that's up to the council too?
correct.
Yeah, so you guys can dive through, I guess, all those to figure out what you want in, if you want everything as is. Is everything as is with the expense? Does that come to 12,500, correct? And then they can just take out what they want.
Correct. The other thing that I would note is if you look down at the revenue, as long as Mother Nature cooperates, we do anticipate a pretty good attendance. So in our beverage sales, we think that revenue would come very close to offsetting our expenses.
In other words, go for it. So is anything in here that you guys would like to come out? Are you okay the way it is, as laid out by staff?
I think it's a very, very responsible budget for a very awesome thing to showcase to the community. And like you said, sales will offset the budget. I'm all in for the acoustic singer as well.
Very good, thank you. Other comments or questions? Do we have a motion in a second? Okay. Questions or comments? Anyone else? And I agree with Alderperson Conacher. That said, we need a roll call vote, please.
Alderperson Hanson,
Aye.
Conacher,
Aye.
Ledvina,
Aye.
P-Rock,
Aye.
Quigley,
Aye.
Rash,
Aye.
Carpenter,
Aye.
Gantz.
Aye.
Motion carries, thank you. Well, now the date is set and they've approved this, Marty, so here we go. Yep, can't change it now. Item 12. Consideration and possible action regarding 2024 aerial deer survey results. You know, since it's kind of a discussion type item, you may consider action if you'd like, but we don't need a motion in a second. And Marty, if you want to just briefly outline the memo, which all of you have, and then we'll just have questions and answers from there. Marty?
So I would like to start out by emphasizing I am not an expert in deer herd management. So,
But you hunt every year.
yeah, and
Small
I've
portion.
given my tag back the last 10 years, so.
So you're not a good hunter. Okay, got it.
Correct. So, last year, there was a concern about a growing population of deer. With that concern, the budget included funding to do an aerial survey. About 10 years ago, we did an aerial survey of deer to determine the population at the time. Going back in 2014, we did the survey. Park Board looked at it simply because the issue kind of stemmed out of the Southwest Park area. At that time, nothing was done. It was determined that all the deer population did not warrant doing anything. Fast forward to 2024, we worked with USDA to do a drone survey, which is, in looking at how they do things, a little more accurate than what a helicopter survey was. Helicopter survey was far more fun for myself, but drone's far more accurate. If you look at the numbers from 2014 to 2024, there are sections that have grown significantly in deer population. Prior to making a complete judgment, I think you need to also consider the neighboring communities that did a deer survey. So specifically, if you looked at sections 6 and 7, which is where I believe some of the concerns have been raised this year. If you look at the sections in 2014, along with Alloway's numbers, the jump in deer is not as significant as what you would believe just from the Deer survey. So real quickly to the, I guess, people out in the internet land, when you look at the numbers for 2014, zone 6 and 7, we had a total of 17 deer, and then in 2024, 29 to 37. Zone 7 and the bordering of Alloway, it went to 29 and then 22 to 24. So the counts, while they did go up, they did not go up as significant. Now, what do you do? More than likely, the question is going to be thrown, okay, what can you do? We've talked with the DNR. The DNR has indicated they have no direction for communities as far as how many deer is too many deer. They will not tell you that. They simply tell you it's your tolerance. So there is no magic number, 35 deer per square mile is too many in a urban environment. They don't tell you that. It's, can you live with the deer? And whatever that number is, it is, because it's different for every community. So you really have, as a community, have to decide what's too many on your own. So that's unfortunate, I guess. To remove deer populations, transplanting them is not an option. So I actually just spoke with the DNR today. That is not an option. I believe that was an option 10 years ago, an expensive option that didn't work very well, but with the onset of CWD, my hunch is that it is no longer an option for that reason. The other options are basically hunting, which you are allowed to do in certain areas of the city. The other option is a culling program. And the USDA, who we worked with the drone, they actually conduct a culling operation. Not sure if people are aware of this, but they actually conducted a culling operation up in the city of Green Bay this past year around the Preble Park area. Did not cause a lot of waves, kind of flew under the radar, if you will. It was very transparent, but flew under the radar and not many complaints. The difference I think you have with Green Bay situation and say this situation, you're looking at a population of, I believe, off the top of my head, what is it, over 30 some deer in a pretty tight area in that little eastern side of the city. The Green Bay situation in about the same area, which was all urban, had 82 deer. So it was double really what we have. Again, though, there's no number that tells you that you need to do something with the deer. So I guess what I tried to do is just give you as much history as I could, as much background as I could, the data, the important data, and how many deer you have, and let the questions start flying.
All right, here we go. Alderperson Ledmanow.
So can you explain the range that they have in the counts? You know, like 12 or
The
20?
USDA counts?
Yes.
Okay, so the range that is in there, so when they did a drone survey, say they would, in section 4, they had 10 to 16 deer. So the 10 deer were 100% confirmed deer. The other 6, they strongly believe were deer, but they cannot 100% confirm. The drone is a thermal imaging camera, so there can be situations where a deer is, say, underneath a tree, and the thermal imaging looks like a deer, but you can't zoom in on it and verify that it's a deer. A lot of times they will zoom in the photo and see, yep, it looks like a deer in a thermal image. It also looks like a deer based on the photo, 100% confirmation. So they do believe they were deer, but they can't 100% confirm.
Could have been like a giant raccoon or something.
Big dog. A giant
Turkeys.
raccoon.
Giant-
Then we have another problem.
Might not bring back
Another survey coming up.
raccoon survey.
Survey.
Sasquatch.
Did you have more questions, Alderperson? If you want to throw out another one, that's fine.
I could. I know Jeremy has traffic information for us.
Do you want to hear from Jeremy?
I would like to. Yeah.
Sure.
Yep.
Chief, would you impart your knowledge on this, please?
Yeah, given the numbers of deer that we have and the lack of car crashes that we have, I don't believe that the deer really represent a serious traffic hazard. We do have a spike in car versus deer accidents, usually every November, corresponding with, obviously, the rut and, deer moving around more than they ordinarily do in the course of a regular part of the year. That being said, the spike that we experience is typically no more than 4 or 5 accidents in that time, which is still very, very low compared to a lot of our neighboring communities.
And I think you made mention, Marty and I were talking, that our cars obviously travel slower in the city and have a better chance to react and avoid anything that's very serious, correct? Speed limits are up.
That's correct, yeah. The accidents that we see are generally not super serious. They can still cause, significant damage to an automobile if they hit a larger deer, but because the speeds are slower, we're not seeing anything with serious injuries or anything like that. It's typically property damage to the motor vehicle.
Thank you. Other questions or comments? Alderperson Ledmanow.
I do have one more.
Great.
So Alloway also did a study,
Correct.
but we don't have it available in our packet, right?
So, you have their 2014 survey information. At the time that this went out, we didn't have all their numbers.
Okay.
However, if you look at the table under where it says miscellaneous information,
Yeah,
we
I saw that.
did include their numbers from those sections.
From the new
The-
survey.
From the new survey. So if you bear with me, in zone 6, we had 5 deer counted in 2014. We had 28 to 36 counted in 2024. When we added the Alloway numbers, we had 17 deer in 2014, so 12 of the deer were actually just in Village of Alloway. And then we had 29 to 37. So the neighboring section for Zone 6 only had 1 deer from Alloway. So we have their numbers in that particular
It should be
table.
noted, zone or area 6, half of that is the Abbey, correct? If what I'm
Yes,
seeing right here.
correct.
Right, that
Yep.
property.
Yep.
Okay. Alderperson Ledvina.
Just one more. So I realized a community member kind of petitioned and brought this forward, and I know he's been in discussion with Abby, the grounds maintenance crew. Have they reached out to the city of De Pere at all about this, or have we not heard from them?
Myself, nor anyone in our office has heard from anyone from the Abbey.
Okay, thanks.
I can't say somewhere else in the city, but
I have not. Have you heard from?
No.
No, we have not.
And
Good for right now?
Good for right now.
Alderperson Hanson, who do you want to go first? Alderperson Hanson, then Alderperson Cuniger.
So just to clarify, Alloway hasn't done anything since 2014, right?
correct.
So I agree with adding Alloway's numbers into the 2014 count, but couldn't our 2024 count then be even higher if we included Alloway's numbers? So I guess it's not really an apples to apples is what I'm trying to say.
So, well, no, I would disagree with you. I believe we are comparing apples and apples from 2014 to 2024. The 2024 deer count numbers that you see where it's 29 to 37 in Zone 6, that includes Alloway's most recent survey.
Okay.
And then, so in the 22 to 24, that includes Alloway's most recent numbers. I do not have their actual plan, but they forwarded me the numbers of their counts for those sections.
And when were those numbers taken?
3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago.
Okay.
By the way, apples to apples, pretty important. Deer like apples.
You really do like apples.
Which, by the way,
You
is
should
part
stop
of our
eating
problem.
those deer.
Yeah.
with
That's a
some-
whole nother discussion.
It's a whole nother discussion.
We do
so
have
let's
our,
kinda
we have
keep-
our orchards.
Let's kind of keep that in our head. Alderperson Cuniger.
Just to clarify, or maybe confirm, the survey is done all on the same day? Because they move, right?
I would have to verify, but I do believe, are you talking our survey or our survey and Alloway's survey?
Well, ideally, the whole thing is done in one sweep as close as possible because, I mean, they know where dinner's at and they
Yeah.
know when people fill things and they're
Yeah.
pretty
The,
dialed
the
in.
city of De Pere's numbers, I do believe, were done all in one day.
Yep.
I do not believe Village of Alloway's was done on the same day. So, I mean, to your
So there
point,
could
deer
be
do
some
travel.
duplication in numbers, just in the sense that numbers are taken at different times.
Yeah, I can't discount that.
There's no walls between.
Are you done then? I think over here. Okay, Alderperson Ledvina.
I was
Clearly,
on-
you can see she has a question.
I guess I just assumed it was all done on the same day. So you're right. That's a really good question, and that brings up a really good point because they do move all over the place. All-
Yeah,
So-
what could be there, you wouldn't have more deer, you potentially would have maybe a few less deer.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, we could approve funding to do it every day for 365 days, but that would do it for parks and,
We have a drone. Is it?
oh,
Zone 6, I mean, keep in mind, Zone 6 is probably pretty accurate because there were no deer, basically, on that site in Alloway.
Alderperson Carpenter.
Marty, you brought up Green Bay and having that group. Any numbers on what it cost for them to come in and eliminate them.
Yeah.
I can bring my own, but
They-
suggestion to get rid of deer. but
Yep.
it wouldn't be involved.
So in talking with the USDA, they have a formula that in a cost, but over time, they said it breaks down to roughly about $400 per harvested deer.
Okay, so that's the number. If we want to work on some, otherwise bring wolves in and we have everything.
It's a great natural competitor. I mean,
I'd say they're a competitor, you know, but I don't think that would go over very well, so.
wolves.
Was that a motion?
Talked about that today. Yeah,
I just saying, so I
Kept that
wanted to
at-
get to that, but otherwise I know about the other solution.
You don't even want to address that one, do you?
No,
Alderperson Quigley, did you have a motion?
no.
No, I was wondering if that was a motion from Alderperson Carpenter.
No, it's not a motion.
Well, that
I just thought I'd throw a little humor into the thing.
Other questions or comments?
Me.
Alderperson Rash.
Yeah, I think, personally, I think we're making more of it than it probably is. I know there's been some people that have had some flowers eaten and things like that, but the population's been, seems relatively stable over the course of the past 10 years. Good to do a deer count, but I don't know there's really anything we have to do as a city. Because if we're culling, obviously, everybody knows what culling is. It's like, yeah, we got to get rid of them, and they don't get moved; they get killed. And either way, if we had to do it, we'd have to do it. But I just don't know if this is a big problem right now for us to worry about.
Thank you. Alderperson Gantz.
So have we had many more complaints? And also, is that the only option then? If we decided we did want to take action?
Well, I can't speak for the entire city, but we did discuss in-house over at the MSC. So between parks and public works, there's been more complaints about turkeys than deer. Over the last 10 years, we've received a couple of complaints, but it's not about deer population. It's about an aggressive young buck in a populated area. And that's been 2 incidences over the last, I believe, 10 years. So we haven't had many complaints. The options, I suppose there's probably something I'm not thinking of, but in order to reduce the population, you have to get rid of the deer somehow, and you can't transplant them.
I'm going to go to Larry really quickly here.
And I just want to qualify something. The deer that we had the aggressive issue with were deer that people were feeding from fawn on by hand.
Yep.
So they were like pets, realistically, but then they went into rut and would attack people and dogs. So that's what happened.
And mailboxes and police cars.
Never heard.
And Marty.
Police cars.
No,
This was a West Side deer, wasn't it?
It was an East Sider. Not a West Sider.
Oh,
East
hey,
Sider.
no, none of that.
No,
No, we are one city.
We got
Stop
some
that.
wild animals on the west side, take care of that.
Yeah.
Bad.
The West Side are all good deer.
Yeah, we are one deer here.
So
Other.
what happened
hand
to
feed
the
our deer.
aggressive one?
They were called.
He was
Okay.
yes.
They can handle those. Yes.
He turned into venison
Yes.
sticks.
So are we going to do a turkey survey now?
Well, we're just dealing with this one right now. I'm not going any further on
There
that.
are a lot.
Sure. Alderperson Cuniger.
On our website or different communication channels, we've chatted about this a little bit, but education on not to feed, obviously, but also what to plant. When we had landscapers come in, they had lots of great ideas on things to not plant that were, or to plant rather, that deer weren't really interested in chomping on. And certainly we still lose a lot of things to deer, but those could be some ways to help deter.
That's a good idea. Other questions or comments? Again, the reality is we have the Abbey, it's kind of a big preserve wildlife area in an urban area. It's just there. So it's not like they're going to go away. But I kind of sense the direction is we accept the survey, possibly maybe look at it maybe a couple of years from now if it gets worse. I'm not speaking on behalf of you all, but Alderperson Cuniger.
Just to follow up on what they did out, I think you said by Preble, do they have any, how, obviously there's no eradication, how is the population recovering in growth?
Well, they just did it, so I don't know if they have a
Okay,
true.
it was recent.
Yeah. But culling, I mean, when you cull deer, it's not a one-time fix. So some places, you almost have to do it every year. Some places you can maybe get away with it to every 2-3 years, but it's not a one-time fix.
I mean, I think the survey was very enlightening. I think it reinforced some stuff we already knew
Yeah.
where they were. It's encouraging that it hasn't, been an exponential growth that we can't handle or manage. But I think that's a good point by Alderperson Cunningham, possibly some information that we can get out. But again, you're going to have people that are going to love these things and feed them till the end of time. But it's encouraging, I think. Other questions or comments or any direction you'd like? Alderperson Carpenter.
Yes, I don't know if the two gentlemen in the audience here want to speak or anything. Is this, I don't know about this.
Are you guys here for this at all? Okay.
And then I don't know if
Didn't
anybody.
know, just checking.
I just want to make sure that we're leaving everybody have. an
Absolutely, absolutely.
I don't see that it's a big issue right now.
So everyone's okay just accepting it as is? We have this information, obviously, and we can use this in the future. And if maybe we want to look at it, a year down the road and go from there. Is that the direction?
Yeah. Yep.
Everyone's all good?
Revisit it.
Thank you, Marty, for the interpretation and obviously the group that did
Yeah.
the survey.
Very
And then the residents, so they do know this information, the maps we're discussing, it is on the website. Click on the agenda, click on the item, and then you can see all the information that we talked about tonight. And we can go from there. Everyone all good?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Marty. Item 13, discussion and possible action on recruitment process for city administrator replacement. You want to just leave or what? Shannon, you want to come up? I'm imagining here that you might want to just kind of summarize what we have going here and then
You're not-
kind of give us some direction.
Absolutely. So as you're aware, Larry Delo, the city administrator, announced his retirement about 2 weeks ago for effective, December 18th?
Or sooner.
You're not going to accept it?
No.
Or sooner? No, we're not accepting it sooner. But
They're not going to accept it.
I'd like to get started on a recruitment process right away, but wanted to get your insight on how you want to handle the recruitment. So we have, to start it out, we really have two options. We can hire a recruitment firm to assist the city, which is typically done for this level of recruitment. If you recall back in 2021, we did that with the police chief recruitment. And the process worked fairly well. Just to remind everybody, I was really involved still in the process. But the other option would be that we would not use a recruiting firm and that we would just do the process internally like we do for all our other recruitments. I did look today, the cost of using an outside firm, I don't know what it would be today, and we'd certainly get proposals from various different groups, but looking back in 2021, the cost was roughly $25,000 to use a firm. So certainly it's not a cheap endeavor, but it's something that's pretty typical process used for this level of position. So that would be something that I'd recommend. I know in discussions with Larry, he'd recommend we'd forgo that process. It would take it's about a 9-month process, give or take. I'm hoping we can do it quicker, but we anticipate probably bringing somebody on early January. And we would certainly rely on the recruitment firm quite a bit through the process, as it would involve multiple steps. I just wanted to throw this out there that as the assistant city administrator, I'm not interested in applying for the position. So if there's any speculation over that,
Sold.
I know. Yeah.
Oh, that wasn't.
But I do think we'll get many qualified applicants for the position. So, from that standpoint, we'll get, I know there's certainly a lot of local interest. And I do think the city is a very sought-after community, and there's been certainly applicants that have reached out already interested in the position. So from the standpoint of, making sure we get a good number of applicants, we may get that on our own, but I think the process is pretty in-depth, which would involve, working with the council, obviously, and a number of different, community groups and whatnot to make sure that everybody is happy with the process. But again, it's not something we have to do, but is pretty typical in this process. So that would be my recommendation, that we would start that process right away, go out there and look at the different companies to work with. Obviously, it would involve getting proposals from them, I have in here, I mean, we have two options. We can either put together like a formal RFP process and lay out very clearly our expectations. I don't know that that's necessary. I mean, typically through my experience, what I've seen is a lot of these organizations, even though you may put together a formal RFP, asking all these questions, typically they have a standard template, they have a proposal already, and that's ends up what they end up submitting. And then it would involve pretty extensive an interview process with us laying out very clearly our expectations of the firm and obviously working to put together an agreement to make sure that, you know, the timeframes are met and laying out our expectations. So, but
And
anyways.
again, that's option 1, letter B. This is the one that you're recommending.
Right.
So we're on the same page here. All right, questions or comments? Alderperson Carpenter.
There's no comments. I'll make a motion for option 1B.
Second.
Motion by Alderperson Carpenter, seconded by Alderperson Rash for the option 1B, the recommendation. Any questions or comments on the motion and the second? All right, it appears there are none. That said, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Everybody wants you gone, don't they? Thumbs up. Yeah. All right, so you're sticking around a little while longer. Thank you, by the way, Shannon. Item 14, future agenda items. Anyone have anything? No. Item 15, I would need a motion and a second to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion by Alderperson Levin, seconded by Alderperson Quigley. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries with
your last
Alderperson, can't say.
I'm not sure yet. I have a travel, I have business travel that day, so I don't know if I'll be able to make
We
it.
can
If I
still-
do, it's going to be virtual.
With
I'll be in
Alderperson
Nebraska.
Rash voting nay.
Just a really roll.
That said, that
That means you have to-
carries. Thank
you
you.
have to stay.
We are officially adjourned.